Good afternoon or good evening, wherever you are.
Thanks for joining us today.
To all of the Georgetown community members and those from our extended family, Hoya Saxa. I very much look forward to this conversation because I think from a Republican, Democrat, and everything in between perspective, I think the one thing that you'll hear from all of us tonight is our reverence for our country and the respect and privilege that we recognize that we had.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us for tonight's conversation, Black in the White House, co-sponsored by the Georgetown Institute of Politics and Public Service, known to many of you as GU Politics, and the Blacksa. Tonight's panel features 4 Black former White House staffers who have worked through several administrations.
For the first term of Bush, we had 9/11. So any discussions about race, any of those things were gone because this was about all Americans. This was about how we were going to come together as a country, and whatever happened after that, in how they decided to govern, that's fine. But that year, or those 2 years from 2001 to 2003, had to be the hardest, toughest times to be at the White House.
As I also mentioned at the outset of our conversation, you want to go in there and you want to work your hardest and do your best for the country and for the president that you're honored and privileged to serve. But for me, and I'm sure that my 3 other colleagues have probably had a similar experience, you walk in the room and oftentimes you're the only person who looks like you, and you listen to the conversation and you're like, that's just not right. Like, I just remember early on, we were talking about Bush's economic agenda and, well, how do we appeal to people of color? Oh, I know. We'll talk about welfare reform, criminal justice reform. And I'm like, all Black people aren't poor. All Black people aren't in jail. All Black people don't have this monolithic existence. None of us have the same experience. But it seems to me that people in this administration look at Black people like they're Black people. And you can't effectively govern as the president or the vice president unless you recognize that there are more voices that need to be heard.
But I fundamentally learned a long time ago that first of all, I can't out-white white people. I just can't do it. I can't do it. But what I can do is set a bar for Black people that we can all aspire to, including white people looking at us. So I always saw it as an opportunity to embrace and to educate.
We have a representation issue in politics. We also have one in journalism. So one thing I know is that with being one of the onlys in their room, it also comes with a lot of pressure, frankly. And I wonder if any of you guys can address kind of dealing with, as Mignon, as you kind of put it, having to represent when you don't want to, but also the pressure of that if you don't speak up, there's a chance that the concerns that you're seeing, they don't get talked about.
Often I was not the only Black person in the room. I think our challenge was to make sure that we weren't working in a bubble. We weren't working siloed, and we were working for what the community needs, not just what we think they need.
I actually turned down working at the White House 3 times, and it was based on my own personal fear. It was not based on anything else other than fear. And so I let the fear, and I bet you it was the fear of my skin color, tell me I could not do this job. And so, but when I went in there, I realized that there were no rocket scientists in the White House. It is a big laboratory of great ideas. And I often say this, it is the only place in America that with the stroke of a pen, you can change someone's life. But all you have to do is to be willing to get in the game.
Early on, when I was just young and getting started and just ran across Mignon, I felt like people like her and others just like young Black man trying to do like getting his business, whoop, and wrap their arms around me and help me to navigate the pathways of being able to serve at the highest levels. And you wouldn't be there without it. So I think, I was lucky in the White House to see a lot of folks who look like me. And I think there was a value that was there.
Thank you to Jonna, Ron, Mignon, and Marlon, and of course, GU Politics for having me back. And folks, I hope you have a good rest of your evening. Stay safe and stay healthy.